Hey, Shalom, Mr. Brother Abaya here. Before I get started, like always, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rakahakodash. Double honors to my teachers, the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. The people need to be taught etiquette, all right? That goes for the adults and the children. And I'm going to focus, primarily on America because, that's where we are. That's where we live. And that's the daughter of Babylon. That's Mystery Babylon. All right. The harlot of witchcrafts. This is the place of the Lord's big judgment. But anyways, when you look at the mindset of the people in today's world, they lack etiquette. All right. They lack discipline. Hold on one second. Yeah, they lack etiquette, they lack discipline, and they're not being taught it. The scriptures speak about teaching, teaching people the proper way to live, the proper way to be, giving them the proper tools, to live a life of righteous morality. But that's not being done in today's time. So I got etiquette on the screen here, and it says prescribed behavior. Prescribed behavior. All right. The word prescribed has scribe in it. So it means, you're supposed to be taught something that's been written down, laid down for you to learn and to walk in. I got the definition of prescribed right here. And it says something that is authorized, laid down, or dictated by a rule, instruction, or formal authority. All right? The people are supposed to be prescribed behavior instructions on how to live. And when you look at these adults, when they driving on the interstate with road rage, impatient in these cars that go over 100 miles an hour, they have not been taught etiquette. When you look at the way people speak to each other, the way people deal with each other, especially in America where you have so many different nationalities, belief systems, political beliefs, it's just a melting pot of confusion and chaos. The people are living amongst each other and haven't even been taught etiquette. So not only are they divided in what they believe and who they are in their nationality, but they don't even know how to deal properly. You look at the kids, this generation of kids is gone. You can forget about it. Us growing up as kids, yes, we delved into things that were detrimental, to our morality and growing up in a righteous state of mind and, being disciplined. But in today's time, they have so many different wicked outlets that keep them in a degenerate state of mind, a very low vibration, all right? They got these smartphones at the age of 10, these tablets at the age of 5. They're being thrust into the internet world, social media, all these different platforms, Kick, Twitch, where it's nothing but degeneracy all day long that the kids are watching. Us, we were stricken to having to, watch a show on TV. If something wild came on and we snuck and watched it, shit that kids do when they're not being disciplined. But now the kids don't have to sneak and do anything. It's right in their fucking hand, in their phone, in their tablet. And they have a whole world of just degeneracy and wickedness that's, being exposed to them. So they're hypersexual earlier, all right? They're more prideful earlier, all right? They're more greedy earlier. They become obsessed with materialistic things earlier. And with not being taught etiquette and discipline, this is the result. When you go outside and you live amongst these people, you work amongst these people, you send your kids to school amongst these people, this is the result. So the first scripture I want to get, because I spoke about how it's prescribed. These things are written down, all right? Say the scriptures were written for our learning, all right? So you go to the scriptures to learn how to live, to learn how to deal. Let me see. And then when you go to Leviticus chapter 19, it gives you the etiquette of how to deal with one another, man. Let me see where I want to start. Leviticus. Let's start with 11 and see where we go. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 11. Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another. Lie goes into, bearing false witness. All right. Dealing falsely happens all the time. Stealing happens all the time. All right. You leave your stuff somewhere. If something valuable is getting taken, okay. And I'm not even talking about these other nations, because I'm talking about amongst our people, the Israelites, so-called African Americans, Hispanic, Native American Indians. People are going to steal from you, lie to you, deal with you falsely, use you for their benefit, and then discard you because they wasn't taught how to deal from an early age. The scriptures say, raise a child up in the way they should go from an early age, and then they shall never depart. Nobody has done that, so now we have full-grown adults who have not been raised properly, who have not been prescribed the righteous behavior, who have not been taught etiquette, and they're just undisciplined adults. Verse 12, and ye shall not swear by my name falsely, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy Lord Yahweh. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night. Let me jump around. Let me see. 16. This is a good one. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shall thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord Power Yahweh. Everybody is a goddamn talebearer. Gossiping, all right? Backbiting, whispering behind people's backs, starting drama, getting in drama, loving just chaos and drama. That's why these shows like they got so many of them now, and it's even more degenerate. It started off with shows like Love and Hip Hop and things like that, like Flavor of Love. And those were degenerate too, but now they got shit called Baddie Girls and, shit with trannies and all type of, it's wild. And every show is degeneracy, people fighting, drama. One episode, I seen a clip online, somebody got shot. Full debauchery and degeneracy, all right? That's what our people have become. Verse 17, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt not in any wise rebuke thy neighbor. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. None of our people want rebuke. They rather just hate you and let you hate them. Don't tell me what to do. That Tupac spirit, only God can judge me. Like they know who God is. All right? But we're not supposed to deal with hate amongst each other. We're supposed to deal with rebuke. If somebody does something wrong according to the prescribed behavior in the scriptures, according to the etiquette and discipline written in the scriptures, you rebuke that person out of love for the Lord, for the word, and for the nation. But what happens? Just a bunch of hate amongst us. As soon as somebody tells somebody something about themselves that makes them feel uneasy or comfortable or ashamed, they hate you. So everybody just hating each other. All right? Let me see. Verse 18, thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord Power Yahweh. Don't even get started on this. Because the children hate the elders, and the elders wish they were young, and they hate the children. You got a lot of these wicked old people that they despise youth because they not young no more. They dealing with ailments and diseases. You would think their ass would be fearful about to head to the spiritual realm, about to head to the upper room. The upper room. You would think they would be getting their mind together, but instead they sit outside all damn day envying and hating the youth because they want to be young again so they can continue in more wickedness. Crazy. But etiquette all throughout the scriptures. Etiquette all throughout the scriptures. Let's get Proverbs chapter 15. These things are supposed to be taught to the people. All right? And it damn sure ain't taught in America, this melting pot of confusion, bubble. All right? All right, let's start at verse 4, right? Proverbs chapter 15, verse 4. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit. Perverseness, perverseness is anything contrary to righteousness, wicked speech and, the way these people talk, all right? Matter of fact, give me one moment. Right? So perverse goes into being degenerate, contrary, turned away. Like I said, contrary to righteousness. All right? Wicked, unnatural. These people are perverse in their ways. Let's go back to Proverbs chapter 15. Verse 5. A fool despiseth his father's instruction, but he that regardeth reproof is prudent. I just told you, people don't like reproof. People don't like rebuke. A fool despises his father's instruction. If a man tries to teach his son or his daughter, if the woman that he with doesn't intervene, the world will intervene, the government will intervene. Even more of an example, if we try to teach you the Most High, our Father of the nation, His ways in the Scriptures, you buck up and despise the word. You're a fool. All right. Let me see. Verse 10, it says, correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. So that is the result for you people. You hate reproof, you hate correction, you hate being taught the ways of Yahweh Shema Shai, so death awaits you. For transgression of the law is sin, and the wages of sin are death. All right? Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it in Proverbs that I wanted anyways. I think it was one more scripture though. Yeah, Proverbs chapter 15, verse 23. A man have joy by the answer of his mouth, and a word spoken in due season, how good is it? So you got to know when to hold your tongue. The scriptures speak about that. Knowing when to speak, knowing when not to speak. Knowing when to give, knowing when not to give. Knowing when to hold something in. Knowing to have patience and not always having to give your viewpoint or your opinion or state what you got to say because you feel that you need to be heard because somebody else is speaking. Have control, have discipline, have etiquette. All right? Scriptures even talk about how when you're amongst wise men, when you're amongst great men, hold your fucking tongue. All right? 1 Samuel chapter 18. Let's get a characteristic of David. 1 Samuel 18. First Samuel chapter 18, verse 14 says, and David behaved himself. That's that word, behave. And David behaved himself wisely in all his ways. And the Lord power Yahweh was with him. So David behaved himself wisely he had etiquette. He had etiquette, man. He had etiquette. Let me see. Colossians chapter 3. Yeah. Colossians 3. Let's see. Yep. Colossians chapter 3, verse 12. It says, put on therefore as the elect of the Most High. So you call yourself the hopeful elect. You want to be the elect. Well, this is what it means to put on the elect. Put on therefore as the elect of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long suffering, patience, humbleness, meekness. All right? Suffering wrongly when you may have not done something wrong, or you may have not done something to the extent of that the judgment was executed, and you just deal with it for the sake of the word that you've been taught, the meekness, the humbleness within yourself that you're practicing to make yourself better, to make yourself a better man of the Lord. All right. Verse 13, it says, forbearing one another and forgiving one another, if any man have a quarrel against any, even as Hamashiach forgave you, so also do ye. And above all these things, put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness. All right. So the scriptures speak about that etiquette, man. Matthew chapter 7. What the Lord said, that's straight on the point. Let's get there. Matthew chapter 7, red letter, as you can see. Verse 12, the Lord said, therefore all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them, for this is the law and the prophets. So the way you want to be treated, you treat others. You hear people say that, but it's deeper than just trying to be nice to somebody. It's the way you deal. And generally, when things don't go your way, how do you act? Do you act emotional, irrational, hasty, angry? A lot of times when things don't go people's way or they feel wronged, they totally put off the righteous fruits of the Spirit and put on that worldly man again. And they attack. They become prideful. They become rash, egotistical. All right? They got to stand up for themselves, because that's what the world teaches. All right, don't let nobody trample over you. You trample over them. All right, that's the worldly, prideful mindset, man. Let me see. Colossians chapter 4. I'm gonna get Colossians chapter 4, and then I'm gonna wrap this up. Colossians chapter 4. Verse 5, right? It says, walk in wisdom. Where do you get wisdom for? Where do you get wisdom from? The word, which is the scriptures, pursuant to John chapter 6, verse 63. Walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time. The times are evil. You shouldn't be walking in the world like the rest of these people. Spiritually, you shouldn't be here. Physically, you in the world, but spiritually, you shouldn't be here. Spiritually, you should be encompassing His word, so you can walk correctly with the proper etiquette and the proper discipline it takes to survive within the spirit and mercy and grace of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So when these people get irrational and emotional and prideful and violent, you know how to behave in a way that will deliver your soul and get you out of a dangerous situation, all right, and put you amongst people that are like-minded. Verse 6, let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. So you know how to deal with certain individuals. Everybody got different personalities and different temperaments, but you know how to deal, all right? You know how to supplant. You know how to get out of a situation. You know when to speak, like I said earlier, and when not to speak. You know how to control your emotions. You know how to respect people. You know how to say thank you. You know how to say yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Open the door for somebody. All right. But yeah, I just wanted, Lord willing, this was edifying. Until next time I say shalom.